Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell in the upper right-hand corner. Follow me on all forms of social media. Check me out at thatdrummerguy.com and enjoy the following presentation. Hello.
Hey Josh, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for the text, man.
Oh, sure thing. I just wanted to make sure that you were all prepared and I wasn't in the way of another interview or anything like that. But
oh man, that was awesome of you. Thank you. What's going on? How you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I'm so thankful for you to be able to take the time to do this interview.
Man, listen, thank you for doing this, man. This is a pleasure for us. Thank you for giving us an outlet to reach out to some folks. We really appreciate you.
Oh, absolutely, and likewise, and thank you for the great music, and of course, being able to talk about a brand new album from Tora Tora, Bastards of BEale, which is coming out in just a couple weeks now from Frontiers Music. I didn't think I was going to be able to see the day with a new Tora Tora album, and then I finally got to see that there was a new album coming out, and it feels like such a great album. I mean, it feels so perfect for what 2019 is right now. It's great to see you guys on this level.
Oh man, thank you so much. We were anxious. We still are for the record to come out. We dropped a couple of singles and got a little bit of feedback, but we were kind of interested to see what the public thought. And I guess like any creative person or whatever, when you're doing it and putting it out there. But anyway, it's just been the craziest experience, man, since about maybe a year and a half ago. Getting to work with Frontiers and getting to meet them and talk to them and to go in and record again. It kind of, now that we're kind of a little bit further down the road, is something that we don't take for granted, especially the band's based in Memphis. I'm in Nashville. So for us to get together and get to spend time together and do something that you love to do, man, I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. It's just, we're so grateful and thankful to Frontiers and especially really to the people that are listening. I mean, they're the reason that, Frontiers said, hey man, maybe you want to go in and try something new and see what's going on. And they were just really supportive and gave us, creative control, whatever we wanted to do. And, man, it was just like getting hit by lightning. We just had the best time, and we've just been friends for a really long time. I mean, Keith and Patrick have known each other since they were like little kids, like 8 years old or something. So for us to be able to go in and do something together has just been amazing.
So with that said, I mean, what was it like when you first started writing the new album?
It was a little, we were wondering, kind of like everybody else was, what is it going to sound like and where are we going? And I feel like we picked up right where we left off with like Revolution Day. It's just our perspectives, our life experience and stuff has changed, our mindset, I guess, of where we were back then. But we still have the sound. The guys, like, I was joking with somebody on the call right before this that, Keith and Patrick and John, when we all get on our instruments and they turn on, it's just, that's the Tora Tora sound, man. I mean, we've all done different projects and played with different musicians and all that, but when the four of us are together and we do that, that's what we sound like. And we kind of wanted to capture that and let it kind of be raw this time. And, it was a couple of factors in that. One was a time issue of just us logistically getting together and all that kind of stuff, but then just being in the studio just to afford us to go in and do this thing quickly. And it was just a great experience. I mean, we had a lot of things that we wanted to say, I guess, that were on our mind, especially lyrically and stuff. Being based in Nashville, I know that's influenced me a lot because there's a lot of focus on the publishing world here. And I actually worked for labels in the publishing world while I was living here. So, and was exposed to a lot of just incredible musicians and writers and all that kind of stuff. And so I know that influenced me. And we all have, 1,000 different influences, Keith and all them. I mean, we're definitely of the same mindset that we were when we got together, that we're a straight ahead rock and roll band. But we have all these other things that have kind of influenced us and that we're listening to. And it was so fun, like the creative side of it. We went in some new tune-ins, just different tune-ins to try stuff that were fun. And we had done a little bit of that before, but I mean, we really kind of stretched out this time. And so that was fun. And working on the arrangements, we were real hands-on with everything. We worked with a guy named Jeff Jeff Powell was the producer on it, and Jeff was actually the assistant engineer on Wild America. He worked at Ardent Studios, so we've known him for 25 years, you know. And so he made it really easy. It was like we're family, you know. He came to the rehearsals with us. We did all our pre-production together where we kind of just mapped out the songs, and so we could be really efficient in the studio. And then we wanted to make it fun when we were recording. We were like, we don't want to really be in there working things out. We just want to go in and have a good time and do some good takes. And we did it really fast, man. We did it in about 6 days. So to us, that was like another world compared to how we used to do it, a long time ago with major labels and stuff. We would block out studios for like 8 weeks at a time or something. And this was just kind of like, we're going in and we're going to capture what it is and we're walking out of here. And, I think it took a good picture of us. We laughed, and, of course, I was saying how the band sounds when I close my eyes and they play. I mean, I'm like, I'm 18 years old, and then I open my mouth and I'm like, man, I'm not 18 anymore. So that was a little scary for me, but I sat down with Jeff and we kind of talked about it, and I said, man, I feel great. Like, I feel good, and we're rested. We haven't been on the road a ton, and we've been kind of saving up for a long time to be in the studio, so that part was in our favor. And he just said, hey, come in and do what you do and we'll make it sound good. He said, I don't want you to come in and be like stressing and freaking out. So he just made it real easy on us, and especially because we had a relationship with him for so long, it was just, we got to go in and just have a party, man. It was so fun. It was great.
Yeah, and that's what's so important, especially nowadays when you are going in to make a record. You want to be as relaxed as possible, making the songs that you want to make and making sure that it's going to be exactly the way that you want to make it. So, knowing that the band, yourself, the outside influences are all in the direction of making sure that it's going to be the most relaxed but fun record that you can make. It's a great way to go about it.
Yeah, and we want to keep, the people that liked us and our other releases and stuff, we wanted to keep those people engaged, but at the same time, we kind of wanted to do something that was a little different. And so when doing our production and stuff, even like the effect on the vocals, that little slap back and stuff, all that stuff was real intentional, that we wanted it to sound a certain way. And it kind of, it's a little bit of a hat tip to our influences of people like classic rock, the Aerosmiths and Humble Pies, and, the classic rock, Bad Company people, and, everybody. We were thinking about all the, and I think you hear it in the record. I don't know if you've heard the whole record or just heard a couple of things, but there's these different vibes that show up on the record that we're like, man, this really reminds me of the influence of this band, and it was real fun to visit all that stuff because it made us remember why we loved it so much. Even the very first song that came out, the Rose of Jericho, the original title of that was Rock and Roll Ain't Dead Yet, and it was kind of like, us joking around or whatever, but it just, as soon as we started working on that title, like this just flood of memories came back about all the fans and all the experiences that we had done, and the Rose of Jericho thing came about just because of, the flower or whatever, that when it stops raining, it kind of wilts up and blows around the desert, and then when it rains, it is resurrected and it turns back into a flower, and we're like, man, it's kind of what we've done. We've kind of been blowing around out here for a minute, and now we're gonna sit down and do something and kind of create again. And but it was just a fun process. We had a lot of fun, and there's a lot of little clues and keys that we put in there just for us, like personal things in our lyrics and stuff that will mean different things to different individuals that hear the record and stuff. So if they followed us, there's a lot of play back and forth, and I think this record relates to all those other ones in different ways, our prior stuff. So I feel like it's still connected,
Oh yeah, and I'm just gonna bring that up too. I mean, when I listened to the album in its entirety, I mean, I think that's the way to definitely hear this album, so you can hear all those influences, all the different styles that are going on there, but still that great Tora Tora sound. I mean, it feels like it's so natural musically, production-wise, lyrically. I mean, it fits together with the previous albums, but it's updated just enough for that 2019 sound, but it feels so natural in the Tora Tora catalog, which I love.
Oh man, thanks. We were wondering how it was going to play out, and definitely the lyrics that we were putting in there, we wanted to address some things that were going on, headlines and things like that. We're not trying to come out and make some kind of huge statement or anything, but honestly, the fans in our family, our tribe of people that all those memories came about, that had touched our lives and influenced us and all that, were in this record, man. I mean, we were thinking about all those experiences that we had with them, and that we were looking forward to doing again. This is kind of a amazing for us through Frontiers giving us the platform and everything to reconnect with the audience and stuff. I mean, we were doing a few one-offs a year and visiting, and we love that, and we love going to, visiting the Tora tribe, I guess is what we're calling them now, that people that they're like, you don't remember me, and I'm like, I do remember you. I'm looking at the audience, I'm like, man, I remember partying with these people, man, having a great time, and this flood of memories that come in. But when we were working on the record, we were real intentional about production, when you mentioned that a minute ago, of how it was going to sound and what it was going to be like, and it's pretty raw. I mean, we don't have any keyboards, we don't have a tambourine on it, and John didn't even play to a click. I mean, he just had an app on his phone, and he threw it next to the drum set, and he watched, if it said 75, he was set on 150 or whatever, however he was doing his timing, and we would go back in and just listen, and we said, man, it would ebb and flow or something, but we would say, man, it feels real natural to me, and it feels kind of organic and authentic, and let's just run with it. If you're cool with it, let's rock on. And so that part of it was really kind of a lot of freedom. I mean, we were like, man, this is cool. And we didn't use any kind of auto-tune. We didn't straighten up the tracks or whatever, align them on time or whatever. So it was just, it was a great experience.
Yeah, and that's what I love so much about the record, with it being so raw, is that you don't hear all of those digital enhancements that you hear on so many records nowadays. I mean, you're just hearing four guys who wrote songs together, had a little bit of an outside influence for arrangement, but four guys getting in the studio, writing the songs that they want to write, and making it a natural process for these songs. Because I honestly feel like if there was like some digital enhancements or some extra things on the records, it might not have that raw authenticity to it, whereas like this is just a stripped back great rock and roll album, and that's what I wanted.
Oh man, thank you. I hope that people like it, and I hope they enjoyed as much listening to it as much as we did recording it. It's Jeff was amazing because he just knew the band. Like, we've known him for so long that he just knew about us. He had contacted me. He actually works out of the Sam Phillips studio, and he cuts straight to vinyl. He's got a lathe machine and all that stuff. And he had written me and said, hey, do you want to come down and do 2 singles? And he didn't know we were talking to Frontiers at the time. And so we wrote him back and we said, you're not going to believe this. We don't want to just come cut 2 singles. We want to do a whole project. And just through our relationship with him and stuff, he was, kind of like a fifth member for us, because he knew our history and how we sounded. And, he was there when we were recording Wild America and all that stuff, and we were getting the amp sounds and all that, so he knows Keith's sound. And so it was real natural. I mean, I think there's something to be said about Memphis. The scene itself is kind of gritty. It's like any other river city, kind of rough, and we kind of always have stayed based out of there geographically and everything. And I think that it has something to do with our sound and who we are, just the influence, the osmosis of being around and being from the Delta, and we kind of wanted that. It's I think it's as close of the recordings to our first EP when we were probably like 17, 18 years old. These recordings are, because it's just pretty raw.
Yeah, and that's what I love so much about it. I mean, obviously there's been a lot of changes that has been happening in the world and the music scene and the band in general over that time. But when I listen to the album, I mean, I do hear that spirit of the band beginning all the way back with that first EP. That's what I'm hearing. But just like through a more modern filter. I mean, obviously with like all the trials and tribulations that's gone on in everyone's lives since that time. Yeah. But just just that great authentic record, and it just has that spirit of the past as well.
Yeah, and it's we don't take it for granted that we all get together. I mean, we're all raising families and busy and have stepped into other areas and all that kind of stuff. But when we get to spend time together now, it's just pretty amazing that we get to do this, just to hop on a plane and fly off and do a one-off and get to spend a weekend together. And I mean, we feel the same way. I mean, we're still telling the same stupid jokes and talking to each other and all that, but it means something to us now that we know that, it's really something special that we get to do this and go out and visit with the audience and travel and all that kind of stuff and play our songs for people. It's just been unbelievable, man. I've really struggled to put it into words how fun it's been. It's just been amazing, and we're looking so forward to sharing it with everybody. We're very anxious to see see what people think. From the initial feedback, feel pretty good about it. And I've had people that they were like, "You really want me to tell you what I think?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've been at shows, and they go, I'm not sure about the production on your, that have given me their feedback and stuff." And I'm like, "Cool, okay, duly noted. I'm going to take this back and think about this for a minute." But we're proud of it, and we owe a lot, man, to the people that helped us on those early records. I mean, those producers and the engineers, people like Jeff and Paul Ebersolo and John Hampton and Joe Hardy and all those people. They made us sound great, and we're still super proud of those recordings that we did back then. But we're really happy with this project, the way that it came out.
Yeah, and another great thing that I do love so much about the production and the raw style that's going on with this album is, as great as it sounds on record, I just imagine that the sounds will sound even better in that live setting, which is what it should be about. Yeah,
and we've had these conversations, through the years, with people, different production styles and all that, from live, to record. And sometimes you have, people that are triggering things or having backups or whatever. And I remember us talking about it, going, well, what should we do? How do we do this? But I think we just wanted it to sound like, hey, this is what it's going to sound like when we walk in and plug up. And I mean, this is basically what we did. We did basic tracks for 2 days with bass and drums and rhythms. And then we did 2 days of singing and solos. And then we took 2 days to mix. So we were done with everything in like 6 days. And it was super fast to us. It was a very different process than we'd ever done before. But I mean, it was something that was just super freedom about it. I was just, hey, this is what we sound like. We're going to go in and just capture it. And then this is it. And we're going to move on to the next thing. And it was really exciting. I mean, we were pretty nervous. That first take, the first day we were like, hey, man, this is going down, and this is it. This is what's supposed to happen. But it was like a good exciting. It's kind of why you want to do it. It's almost like, performing. Well, I still get nervous now, and we've been doing this forever, and I get nervous. But the second that I walk out there and start singing, I go, oh, yeah, I remember why I love this so much. It's like, why have I been freaking myself out this whole time? This is awesome out here. So.
Oh, totally. So with that in mind, obviously with the record coming out in a couple weeks now, I mean, what's it like to finally be able to start doing some new shows, being able to promote the new album?
Man, that has been probably the highlight. I mean, we were doing a few one-offs a year, but we picked up a little bit more activity now. Our families are growing up. Our children are kind of having their own agendas and their own activities and all that. And the guys in the band are kind of like, we looked at each other and said, hey, man, we have time to slip away. We can pick some festivals and go to some markets that we had really good success in and visit people. And to go and try out a couple of new songs, we're definitely going to play Walking Shoes and Phantom Rider, and the ones we still love those songs. And like Nowhere to Go But Down, I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but we wrote that with Stan Lynch. And every song, every show I've ever played since we wrote it, I play it in the show. I still love it. I still email him and go, we're rehearsing and we're playing Nowhere to Go But Down. I'll shoot him an email. Or Dead Man's Hand, I still love that one. But anyway, I guess we all have our favorites. But to get out and go do those and to change the setup a little bit, it's good to get like fresh blood in it. We used to move the set around just to add some songs, but to have some new ones that are like brand new. When you're talking to like creative people, they get really excited about the latest thing that they just came up with. They're really want to show the whole world and everything. I think we're kind of in that little phase of we kind of completed it. We got the artwork done. It's printed. It's getting ready to come out. We're like, we can't wait to play these couple of songs for everybody. So we're introducing like maybe 2 or 3 in the set, and then we're going to see, what the response is. There's a little bit of a challenge because we're in some different tunings, so it's a little bit more on Keith, what he's comfortable with, and as far as the time management thing in the set of flipping guitars and stuff. But we're excited, and we're writing again. I mean, we haven't stopped writing since we did this record. We kept writing and working, but as far as being on the road, I think that's the part that I missed the most when we were kind of a little bit not active. Is that was such a big part of our life, and when we were with A&M, we told them we didn't want to go home. We were just like, man, if you'll help us with tour support and stuff, we'll just stay on the road. If we're playing an arena or we're playing a 50-seat club, we don't care. We want to just be out here doing it. And for about 6 years, that's all we did. And that was a pretty hard pill to swallow when we weren't with A&M anymore. We realized that, man, this is a big struggle, and we were kind of going through some life issues and things like that of what we were fixing to do now that the major label thing was gone. So that was an adjustment, but to get to do it like this together all over again, and to know that there's still fans out there, people that reach out to us, and the promoters that have reached out to us and said, you know what, I'll give you a shot, come out and do this. And it's just been overwhelming, man. We're just we're so grateful, and it's amazing. You know, we just want to spend time with people playing music. I mean, if we can do that, then we feel like we're just on cloud nine.
And that's what I love hearing so much about what's going on in the world of Tora Tora right now is, you know, the fact that I can hear that creativity and inspiration that's still going on, whether it's live shows, whether it's recording, or just being together as a band of friends and a band of brothers. I can definitely hear that. I mean, it doesn't sound like this album was made as an obligation or just something to get out of the way. I mean, it sounded like you actually wanted to make this album and you want to continue to make future albums, and it's great to hear that the band has that still going.
Yeah, and I think in the back of our mind, we were all wanting to do the recording. We just weren't sure when the timing was going to be, and that's what was so awesome about Frontiers approaching us when they did. It just felt like those planets lined up. We were like, this is going to be logistically easy way to do this thing where we can have control over what's happening, and we weren't under a huge time constraint. It was more about location as far as me getting there to do the rehearsals and being in the studio with everybody. And you know, there was conversations about, you know, maybe they could I could record with them and then I could come back here to Nashville and do singing, but I really said no. I just really want to be in Memphis. I want this to be a Memphis project. I want to be home, and that's not knocking Nashville. I love it. I've been here probably 14 years or something, but there's something about being based from Memphis. Like, I'm still a little biased of, I love that scene. I grew up there. You know, we just shot a brand new video, and it's a song called "Son of a Prodigal Son," and we went to Beale Street to this place called Handy Hall, and it's the room where we shot Walking Shoes, and it's still there, and there's still like a little neon sign out front, and it was nostalgic. It was emotional, man. I walked in there. We were kind of goofing around and talking and stuff, but when I went in, I was like, oh my gosh, man, this is like full circle. We're back there on the stage, you know. And they were set up and the cameras were everywhere, and I was like, oh man, this is crazy. So we shot a little bit there and a little bit at Sam Phillips Studio, and we can't wait to share that with the audience. We're real happy with how it turned out, and I think it just captured that, you know. But when you were saying before it was really about friends getting together, I definitely feel like that's how we feel about it individually, you know, individually as a band, that this is an opportunity for us as friends to do something that we're passionate about, and then the creative aspect of it and everything was exciting. But it's also about sharing it with everybody else. I mean, it's like they're like our family, the people that we go out and see. I mean, we just played a show in Memphis on December 29th, and there were people that were in the audience that came up to us after the show. You know, we were talking to everybody that they had been coming to see us since we were playing in the backyard of people's houses in high school. And it's just like, you go, oh my God, I've known these people forever, man. They had their children with them, you know, and we're like, you brought them. They suffered through the Tora Tora show for you to be here and hang out with us. But it was just amazing. And then to go on the road is even more special because we haven't been as active as we would like to be because we were focused on just different things in our life. But now to have that opportunity and go out and fly to somewhere like Kansas City or go to Austin or Fort Worth or St. Louis or Chicago or wherever it was, we know the people there, man. We stay on the road for a long time. So to go see them and just reestablish the relationships with them and get to talk to them in person, it's amazing, man. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and it's such a great thing. And now with the new opportunity to be able to hit more spots now because of a new album and being able to promote that and, you know, getting that new live show regenerized with wherever you go. I mean, that's just got to be such a great feeling. Yeah,
it really is. And the response that we've got so far from the crowd and everybody is they were like, man, it felt like it fit right in the set. You know, the songs off the new record felt really good, and people seem to be liking it. We're hoping, we're keeping our fingers crossed that the people will like it when it comes out. And you know, we're just pumped, man. We're so excited about the record coming, and they're pressing some vinyl for us, so that's going to be amazing to have a vinyl record of the new Bastards of BEale, and we're just ready to go see everybody. We miss them a lot, and hopefully we're going to get to spend some more time with them out on the road over the next year.
Oh, that's awesome. So again, with all this in mind, I mean, so many great things happening in the world of Tora Tora right now. I mean, a brand new album, being able to go out and play more shows again. After the album comes out, what is going to be next for the band?
Well, right now, the week it comes out, it drops February 22nd, so everybody can be watching for that. We go on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and we're looking forward to that, man. There's so many great bands on there. I mean, Tesla's on there, Kicks, King's X. We actually toured with Kicks and King's X, when we were little kids, so we're looking forward to that, and they still sound amazing, all of them. I love Jeff Keith's voice from Tesla. Oh, man, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. But so Monsters of Rock is coming up in February. Then in March, we're doing Rocklanta, which is a 2-day event. Bradley Entertainment is putting that on. Again, 2 days full of great bands. And one of them really good is East Side Gamblers. I don't know if y'all have listened to that record yet, but it's Tony Higby's band. He's the guitar player in Tom Kiefer's solo band.
Oh, yes.
He's got a record out. He and his brother are in a band together here in Nashville, the East Side Gamblers. So y'all should check that out. It's an amazing record. So they're going to be on the show too. And our buddies from Memphis, Roxy Blue, they're going to be there at the Rocklanta thing. That's March 29th and March 30th. And then we're headed over to M3 up around the Maryland area. And then we head out to Colorado. We're headed out to Denver to work with Wolfpack Productions. So we're happy, man. We've got a few. There's a couple that aren't confirmed yet that are in between those dates. So as soon as we get them, we'll throw them out on our social media for everybody to see it. But we're excited, and we can't wait to come and share the new music.
Oh, that's just incredible. I mean, whether you guys are getting to play on a cruise, whether it's a festival show, whether it's a club show, whatever the case is, I mean, I'm glad to see that you guys are hitting so many different varieties and so many great areas as well, being able to promote the new album and show that the spirit of Tora Tora is still alive and well.
Oh, man. Well, we owe it to the people listening, man. I'm serious. We can't thank them enough, and we owe them a big debt of gratitude that they afford us the opportunity to do it. So we just want to come see them and crank up and spend some time together.
Oh, fantastic. And I think with that, that's a great note to end on. Thank you so very much for taking this time to talk to me about everything going on in the world of Tora Tora. And of course, the brand new album, Bastards of BEale, which is coming out February 22nd through Frontiers Music. Of course, I've gotten to check out the album and continue to listen to it. I mean, it's just a great, heavy, bluesy, hard rock and roll album that I love listening to from start to finish. It just captures so much about the band. And I'm really excited to see that you guys are continuing on with the spirit of Tora Tora, no matter where you guys are playing, going on with the live shows, and it's got me really excited to see what's going to be happening with the future of Tora Tora.
Oh, man. Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing your time, Josh. Man, I appreciate it. And we'll have to catch up again. I'll have to follow up with you after we get a few tour dates under our belt.
Oh, I'd love to do that. I mean, anytime that you got something to promote, I would love to be able to catch up with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that, man.
Oh, not a problem.